say if you want to like move to somewhere to get away, the Appalachian Mountains are the best. That and like near Knoxville in Tennessee, because it's all mountains and it's all water.
But have you ever met anybody from that region? I would say that there's, I know that correlation is not causation, but I wouldn't say that that's the healthiest group of people I've ever met coming out of that region.
Throw meth in there, it gets a little weird. But
can you try flicking it, see if it's on? If it's on, then I'll switch it.
How about now?
Cool.
Professional, Sam.
Good? All right, cool. Let's let those heavy footsteps finish for a second. Holy, that's got to be Charlie.
If you have a water, I'll take it, even though it's bottled water. I mean, glass water.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. We're doing a podcast.
Do we what? We don't, no. We have, like, cans of soda water, but not bottled water right now. Yeah. Anything specific that you want to talk about?
Nope, whatever you want to talk about.
Cool. I'll try to keep it off. I mean, obviously conspiracies, but I'm gonna try to keep it off of just like. Dude. No, that's
these podcasts. They want to talk conspiracies, and their friends are like, "What the fuck is all this?"
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm like, I'll talk about anything.
That's the thing. Like, I want to talk about it, but I also don't. I just say like I'm more interested in like what's the step then. Like, we don't need to just keep. Let's stop discussing all the things. Like, what do we do about the things? Okay. But I'll get to that at some point. And like, kind of around the, I think the, fuck it. I'll stop talking. It's pre-pod. We'll get there.
Thank you, dude. You're like a multitasker. Oh, yeah. You're like sound guy, assistant,
Guyanese.
Yeah, French.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you fly here. How like everything's in English and French. Americans would lose their fucking minds.
They don't do do Spanish and flights and things.
Very rare,
even
unless
in the South.
No, they don't do any Spanish shit. Well, I mean, if it's a predominantly Spanish area, let's say like Yuma, that's a border town. Everything's in Spanish, but like when you're flying, nothing. People would lose their fucking minds.
But that's what's funny is that like I would say. In almost every situation, it would actually make more sense for you guys to include Spanish than it ever actually comes up that we need to include French. You have far more people that would be confused at an airport because there isn't Spanish than anyone being confused at an airport in Canada because there's not French.
I don't know. Americans are like kind of like have this idea that if you come here. And we've gotten away from this, but I think you're going to see a big push for it, which is if you come here, you should assimilate, which is my whole theory. Like, if you come to America, welcome. I'm not so my parents were both my grandparents were great-great-grandparents came from Italy and Armenia. But the reason I don't speak Italian or Armenian is because it was about assimilation. That's like everybody on my grandpa's side changed their last name from Tripoli to Triple, except for my grandpa, because Italians couldn't get work. So it was about assimilation. And I don't care who comes. I'm welcome. Just assimilate. That's my opinion. Don't come here and be like, I'm bringing whatever dog shit I'm leaving and bring it here. And I understand because they pay people less money when they come here, so they kind of got to clump up, and then that's how you get like little
pockets
Chinatown, little Havana. I
Brampton.
Respect all that.
Yeah.
But it is about assimilation. And what happens is by the third, like you're seeing this in America right now with Latinos, right? By the third generation, they're completely Americanized, and the new most offended group are the Latinos. It's very weird.
But I guess my question on that would be like, is it, so when your family came, did they do that because there was a cultural pushback telling them to do that? Or was there incentives in place naturally that just led them to assimilating? Because so my theory on immigration, I've always said, is pussy and pizza. You give any group of people pussy and pizza for long enough, and they're naturally, like, if our shit is so good,
which it is, that's why they're coming here.
But so then wouldn't naturally you assume at some point our shit's so good, they're going to gravitate towards our shit?
And they do eventually. But there's this whole notion now to like hold on to what you came from, which I don't have a problem with, except for in the grander scale, which is like in the food court, in the the town square. It's the culture of the country you're in. That's my whole opinion. There's been this real push to like everyone have their own thing, and that's where you start to get everything starts getting weird. So why we don't have Spanish everywhere is because the assumption is you can speak Spanish. I don't think anyone cares. I mean, everyone learns it in school, but eventually you have to assimilate to the culture because that's why you came here. This notion of coming here and then like the craziest shit is like third or fourth generation Latinos who want to do communism when their grandparents and great grandparents fled from that shit. And everyone's always like, that's not real communism. Well, communism, do you really think they're going to allow real communism to happen in America or Canada? It seems like it's starting to happen.
We do our best.
But do you think they're ever going to allow that to really happen?
Well, I don't think that anyone's, as much as some of the incentives or some
guys,
of the push.
enjoy the devil room. You want to summon spirits before the show, go have a great time.
I just wonder, like, the incentive. I mean, you don't really. I always hear this. It's Marxist. It's Marxist. It's Marxist. But ultimately, who would be the people pushing for us to be communist? Like, there is no incentive for the people at the top for that.
Well, what they want is, and as you see it in all these countries, is the elites get really, really, really rich. And the only way to get out of that is through either becoming an entertainer or an athlete. If you make it so the government owns everything, it's almost impossible to pull out of poverty. Poverty, everyone wants to get rid of poverty, right? And I'm not saying poverty is good, but poverty is an incentive to change your fortunes. So, like, when you get on universal basic income, there's no real incentive to get yourself out of a bad position. You're just paid enough to survive, and that's what people like. Here's the thing about cultural Marxism, and it's happening in America. It's about division. If everyone's fighting with each other all the time, nobody can see that, hey, dude, we're getting robbed blindly by the people at the top. Like Goldman Sachs creates a giant real estate portfolio where they tell their own investors, their own clients, to invest in this real estate portfolio, fully knowing it's going to fail because they want to make the insurance off it, and it tanked the economy. No one went to jail. No one did anything. That is like a Robinbarian class. We don't have capitalism. We have crony capitalism.
Absolutely. But I always look at this as the opposite way, too. I think that you could look at just as much, again, maybe coming from the left in this conversation, I would say that, like, as perverse as when the government gets into corporations, how that becomes crony capitalism, you could say just as easily the argument could be made that when corporations get into the state, that's when the state starts having problems. Like, you could look at it. The thing I always point to is charities. Everyone always talks about how inefficient the government is, how much waste there is, how much whatever. But if you look at the top charities in the entire world, most of them are delivering 2-3% of what they collect.
That's crony capitalism.
Well, and so I guess my pushback is I feel like cultural Marxism, we're almost at a point now where it's like, is it just an old term? And is it living in a time where, yes, the left started this, they were the most annoying fucking sure, fair enough.
There's never been a revolution by the poor. It's never the poor.
Well, I would argue Haiti.
It's not poor. It's like what it is. That's not a revolution. Slaves. That's a complete and utterly fucking... it's completely utterly a hidden hand to cause chaos so that people cannot come together. So you destroy the economy through many different ways, whether it's weather or whether it's economics or whatever, and everyone's fighting for scraps. And then that's where you start getting all these gangs and shit like that to happen. And you know what I found very interesting? Like, I grew up in this time where we kind of romanticized gun runners, right? Arms dealers. It was like kind of this outlaw thing where we were like, oh, these guys play outside the system and, they supply guns and they're like, great. And then you start to realize, honestly, they're just government cutouts of the U.S. military funding areas where they just want to destabilize. Because if you really were like, hey man, we're going to fund these kind of fucking these revolutions, right? Why wouldn't they have gone into Australia or New Zealand or even Canada to a point where Canadians and the truckers were like, we don't want this fucking authoritarian government. Why? That's a ripe area to smuggle guns into. But they didn't do it because they want this area destabilized. They don't want, they don't want a civil war. They don't, or a revolution, because they like the government that's installed. So it's a giant fantasy and a psyop that arms dealers are these outlaws. They're completely government cutouts, dude. And that's completely what's happened. When you look at cultural Marxism in America, right? The interracial dating is 3% of the entire population, but black men dating white women in commercials are 75% of the commercials. That does not make any sense if you're trying to connect with a consumer and sell products. You only do that if you're trying to mentally psyop people into pushing certain narratives and stuff. That's the only reason you do that. It makes we've seen it forever. It's we no longer have an economy where businesses on a large level are trying to drum up business. It's really all about trying to play ball with people like BlackRock and these ESG scores. So you're really not even caring about selling your product.
But ultimately, though, I guess my thing with this, and it's the line I always run up to with this is, and maybe I'm just a little too good-hearted or naive, you could say, but I always think, is it a conspiracy or is it perverse incentives, right? Like
it could be both at that point. The perverse incentive is to please BlackRock. So you get into their system where they can fund you.
But I guess the perverse incentive there is there's two ways to look at that. Is it to please BlackRock, or does pleasing BlackRock have perverse incentives that you then benefit from? I guess the idea would be like, so what would BlackRock do? And this is not my defense of BlackRock, but listen, let me put it this way because it might be cleaner. When the Luigi Mangione thing happened,
right?
My pushback to all of that, and say what you want about whether it was real, set up, whatever. I'm just strictly the idea of it. And this is as a Canadian, probably my biggest issue. If I was the president, what were the things that I would change immediately to make things better? And this is going to be not down the rabbit hole enough, but I would make elections public. I would repeal Glass-Steagall, and then. Shit, I just lost my train of thought on what.
That's fine. There's a lot of stuff you would do with elections. I mean, I think on local levels, elections are real. On national levels, I don't think they're real at all. I mean, the presidency, to Barack Obama, to Trump, to Biden, to Trump again, none of that's real.
Well, is it not real? Again, like, let me.
So this whole incentive, Rob, this whole thing, and not incentive, that was the wrong word. This whole narrative right now that 5 podcasts got Trump elected,
of course,
is completely laughable.
Absolutely.
If you go to American podcasts, you go to Apple Podcasts, you look at the top 200 podcasts, I'd say 75, 80, even 90% of them are progressive or liberal podcasts. They're not conservative podcasts. They just don't do it. It's not there. I would tell you that Trump has been prophesized to be here. This is a script that's being followed to push him in. That's why all these books are written about him over years. King of the Jews, the last president, little Baron Trump, like who looks exactly like Baron Trump. Like all this has been prophesized. He was going to get in. And the great thing though is to watch is like how they manipulate an election by putting the person they want in up against someone that everyone automatically hates. Like when Barack Obama gets elected for the first time, we're leaving the Bush era. Americans hate white, elderly neocons. So who do you have this charismatic black man run against? John McCain, who is the mascot of the old white neocon. So that runs everybody to Obama, and everyone's like, change. Nobody knows that he's literally an Obama. I mean, he's literally a fucking Bush. His grandfather and George Bush Sr. basically created the CIA. Obama's grandfather pimped out his own mother to be an MK Ultra sex kid. kind of like what my opinion is of what Erica Kirk is right now. Everyone hates Erica Kirk, but it's like I don't think she has any say in what she's doing right now.
She's a handler. Like
she's basically been pimped out by her parents, put into the system, used, sent to fucking sexually
kind
take
of a Bridget Macron.
Yeah, well, I would say Bridget Macron is like has a lot more say in what she's doing than someone like an Erica Kirk. I mean, she's a dude who's fucking her son. I mean, like that's fucking weird shit. But it's like the more perverse it gets, the more they please their masters, right? So
let me go back to the Luigi point for a second and the perverse incentives versus conspiracy. So everyone celebrates the death
are those
of the
always
CEO.
Exclusive?
No, they're not always exclusive. Well, but they are an intention. I think that there is we're all naturally inclined towards perverse incentives, right?
Well, you define perverse incentives. What does that mean?
Selfish. Let's just we'll keep it selfish intentions. Okay. I think that's the easiest way of putting it. So Luigi Mangione kills the CEO of this healthcare company.
Yeah.
Now, my thing with that is, and again, I'm a particularly kind of left person. In the last few
I'm an
years,
old school liberal.
Yes, I used to call myself a Chomsky liberal, but that kind of got muddied the last little bit.
It's the worst. So. It's literally the worst.
Isn't that the worst one?
I mean, like his books changed my life,
and like now I got to be a Chris Hedges guy. That's the dude I will say.
It's
now.
also like why you can still like Michael Jackson, right? It's like okay, the guy was, and people think he was completely set up. So I know somebody who worked with. I'm actually in a Michael Jackson video. I'm in his last video.
What?
You can see the back of my hat. I play like shady strip bar guy throwing money.
That's sick as fuck. Why were we not promoting that this whole weekend? We would have fucking
Sam Tripoli from the Michael
Jackson
video.
Yes. Michael Jackson, Sam Tripoli is what
I'm also in a very famous Britney Spears video, "Piece of Me," which my girlfriend produced.
Why is your music video career so much better than your comedy career?
Dude, well, because my girlfriend is the one deciding who's in all the fucking videos.
Nice.
That's why.
All right.
So once again, the juice. But but it's very interesting because that video, that "Piece of Me," is based on a sketch comedy video I did called "Fake Heat," where I made a video with me and my buddy where we tried to fake being famous. So in the video, I go down to Home Depot and I get a bunch of Mexicans and I make them fucking act like they're paparazzi. So everywhere I go, I got paparazzi. So she saw that. She's like, this is a great idea. Britney Spears is in chaos right now. She needs a hit video. So her and this really great guy, director named Wayne Isham, go, let's turn this into a Britney Spears video, and you can watch it, and I'm right in the middle, but it's directly from this thing. But it was very interesting when I watched.
By the way, I just want to be very clear. There's probably like 20% of your fan base right now going, shit, does Sam work for them?
Yeah.
I've been tricked this whole time.
Some guy did that.
Britney
He's like,
videos?
he's in this Britney Spears video.
Yeah,
and Jay Tyler's like, what does that mean, dude? like right now there's this guy called the Fittest Flat Earther, and he's trying to convince everybody I'm controlled opposition. And I go, dude, I'm playing a basement right now in Toronto. Like, when you're controlled opposition, you don't play fucking basements,
There's some
dude.
perks to controlled opposition.
Yeah, I'd be playing a fucking arena right now, or at least a theater, dude. You know.
Who do you think the biggest controlled opposition celebrity there is right now?
Well, you know,
And celebrities obviously.
there's a lot of
different
people
now,
talking about Tucker and talking about like fucking Candace Owens, but you know, my whole thing is like.
Fuentes.
I keep Fuentes is interesting, dude. He's telling people to come into the Capitol on January 6th and nothing happened to him. You know, he is very he's a amazing speaker. He's obviously got a gift for that. You know, so my whole thing with anybody is keep your head on a swivel. You know, it's like if they're saying something that you know to be correct, that's fine. The minute they fake a funk on a nasty dunk, right, you kind of move on. And so everyone thinks Candace Owens is controlled. I'm not saying he's not. Like how she met her husband is very fucking weird, dude. Very fucking weird.
And gay.
And it could. I mean, he does look like one. Like Milo said, he banged him in his ass. So you know, like who fucking knows?
How did she meet her husband?
What?
How did she meet her husband?
Like, it's a very weird thing. Like, Owen Benjamin put out a really funny video about it, but she was speaking somewhere in, like, England or something, and he saw her, and, like, 18 days later, they're married. He said nothing was romantic. They just got fucking married. And it's just super interesting. And it's like her journey. And there's also something to this whole thing that the whole goal is Noahide laws, right? And these old Noahide laws. And if you're really going off on Israel, this fits into that narrative that trying to create these. Everyone's worried about Sharia law, and nobody's worried about Noahide laws. And Noahide laws are like the end result are literally FEMA camps.
And the Sharia law thing, I remember I lived in England for about a year and a half around like 2013, 14.
Oh, really?
And my club in there, all the clubs are like your managers in England. So my club was in Shoreditch, which was the east side of London. And that was where at the time they were saying all the Sharia law patrols are happening, and you can't dress like a slut in the east end of London because they'll throw rocks at you. And it was a hipster town. It had you couldn't find a fucking Muslim person with a frown.
That's the whole thing. It's like, again, like my bit about how everybody's retarded. And I go and I list everybody, and when I talk about Muslims, I'm like, I would love to have a joke about them, but they're all so hacky. We've been pounding on these guys for fucking ever, but it's really about like, look over here and not see what's going on over here, And that's just the whole psyop of everything. Everyone's so worried about Sharia law. Nobody's talking about Noahide laws. And the Noahide law people are meeting with your politicians. They take pictures with those Chabad motherfuckers all the time.
Go into Noahide law a little bit, like explain.
Noahide law is basically these fucking Kabbalistic the Kabbalah fucking Jews who just, they want to.
Are they still the red bracelet Jews?
Yes.
Okay.
And Tucker Carlson wears one. And he's just like, I got it from my dad. I'm like, okay, that's the just CIA guy, dude.
Just like how John Brennan became Muslim for no reason.
Well, that's an interesting thing too. But like when they talk about like John Brennan, he was the only guy ever let into Mecca because he speaks Muslim. He speaks like Arab, dude. So he was allowed in there right before 9/11. 9/11 is a big lie. The whole thing's a fucking lie.
He gave every single one of the hijackers their passports in Saudi Arabia.
And I don't even believe that part of the story. Okay. I just think that's layers of deceit to make you focus on those guys. Oh, they were at strip bars. Like, what are we fucking talking about here? And all comes out of Broward County, which is this county in Florida where all the psyops come out of, dude. Like school shootings, missing Adam, whatever his name is, the kid who went missing in like the 80s or 90s. Like, he comes out of that whole, it's all out of that fucking county, dude.
Yeah, but that's also a place that scumbags go to escape the rest of the country.
Florida is like the greatest state ever. And it's this whole psyop that it's just redneck alligator fuckers.
There's a lot of redneck alligator fuckers.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, you go to Florida, it's unbelievable. The comedy is the best. Texas is great too, but Florida is next level.
Miami comedy is the worst fucking
comedy is its
in
own
North
thing.
America.
But you get out of there,
terrible.
you go to like Tampa, all those areas, man. You can say anything the fuck you want, and it's fucking great.
Yes, because they're redneck gator fuckers.
But anywhere you go that there's like really hot women everywhere, there's just no real comedy, because why do they want to go inside? They could just go stare at hot chicks all fucking day.
That's a good point.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
I wanted to ask you about something that I think you mentioned it the last time you were in at the Royal. I think just in conversation, but you said something about CAA being behind a lot of the cancellations.
Yeah, the Me Too movement.
Yeah,
they really fucked my friend Brian Callen over, dude.
But why? So what is? Because I've actually brought your point about this up on the podcast before, because my theory is the only people who can truly cancel you in entertainment is Live Nation. They're the only people who decide. Chris D'Elia still works with Live Nation, still plays arenas here.
Well, there's this idea that cancellation is like for the rest of your life you're in the corner crying. Like that's what like. There's some comics who are very lefty in Hollywood that I love very much. I'm not going to say their names, but they're really mad that Louis C.K. got a Netflix special, and they're like, cancellation ain't real. It's like, it's totally fucking real. I lost a YouTube channel a long time ago. I didn't get my Twitter back until Elon bought it. I had to pay $3,000 American dollars, which is like 3 million Canadian dollars, right? I had to pay that to get my Instagram back. I lost multiple Patreons. So their whole idea is that you know, if you get canceled, you're never seen again. No,
Gomez
Louis
has a great
C.K.
point. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Louis C.K. lost millions of dollars. Like he was on top of the mountain. He wasn't let back. They're now slowly letting him back. I know the girls that it happened to, and they weren't behind pushing that thing. Just like Tiger Woods, it was a friend of the girls who pushed the narrative to make money, dude. They didn't push that shit. The real piece of shit in the Louis C.K. thing is his manager, who's just going around telling these girls, if you fucking say anything, I'll blackball you from Hollywood. And he followed them for fucking ever, dude. You know, and it just...
I will also say, though, because people will say, like, you know, remember the famous CNN article where it was R. Kelly, Louis, and then Bill Cosby in a row. And it was, I think a lot of comedians looked at that and went like, what the fuck? I think the reason, personally, my theory on it is Live Nation. And it was the fact that if you remember right before the cancellation, besides the movie and the whatever that Louis was doing, Louis had subverted Live Nation. He was selling his tickets on his own website. Dude. And please, I'd love to spend some time. Just trying to destroy Live Nation subtly is my life's mission. So
I'm good friends with a guy named Jamie Josta from Hatebreed. And he was on my podcast one time, and we weren't even talking about any conspiracies. It's a financial podcast called Cash Daddies. And he was talking about how he wanted to put his rock concerts on his website. And someone he knew goes, well, if you do that, you better cut them fucking in because they don't fucking like that. So you take a look at like Prince, Michael Jackson, Louis C.K., even Cosby. You take a look at a lot of these guys, they were all trying to kind of go off reservation and do their own fucking shit. And it's why Frankie Valli can't even sing anymore, and he's still on fucking tour, and they're playing music behind him. Because, dude, if they blow you up, they don't like you leaving. And, like, with rappers, if you try to do that, they just kill you. They're expendable.
What is your feeling? I'm a big Kanye guy. So what is your feelings? Because I always feel like, yeah, he's been put a lot of times. The Cat Williams and the Kanyes are the people who I'm like, they work outside. Like, what album of Kanye's do you
Hitler
think
is catchy?
Yeah, it is.
I sing that shit all the time.
You can't put H in my YouTube search
Jewish,
history
so
without
play
it
low,
following.
you know?
Yeah. Like what? So what Kanye album do you think made the most money he's ever made in his entire career?
I mean, probably this new one, right?
Vultures 1 and 2. Because now this new one probably might even surpass them. But the point is
but
that
he played it so smart, dude.
Because he has his own, he owns everything now.
Yeah, now he just made them let him go.
I truly believe that part of the Jew thing was, listen, a black man, he tried his best to go 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice. And they went, we don't like it, but we'll let a black guy get away with it. And he had to go, what's the only thing I can make them fire me for? What's the only way to get out of this contract? Because I can't get out of the contract because I want to. He knows that. There's no way the artist can go, you know what? I've had enough of this one. I'm going to depart ways. He has to get fired. And what's the only thing you can do to get yourself out of that contract? Love Hitler publicly.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's very interesting, too, because, again, it fits into the Noahide stuff to get everybody to hate Jews and Israelis, and then they could install these fucking laws. So he plays right into that. But you're totally right. A lot of the stuff going on with him right now, too, is the fact that they won't let him see his kids.
Sure.
And you could tell when they tell him, hey, just do this, and you'll see your kids again. So he goes through this apology campaign, and he's doing everything. And then at some point they go, no, you're not going to see his kids. And then he just flares up again and goes fucking nuts. It's like, I don't know if anyone here has kids, but when you're that rich and you're paying that much in child support and you still can't see your children, that's a giant mind fuck, dude. And this is all about his kids. He fucking wants to see his kids, and they won't let him see his kids, and he scorches the fucking earth. And then, it fits in the Noahide law stuff. So it's like you're telling me that the porn star is the stable parent, and the guy making all the money is the fucking bad guy. And like you look at like how his daughter is right now. Her face is tatted. She's 13. She's at Coachella. And you're like, is that the way the fucking go? Moms and dads are both important, dude. Moms are empathy. Dads are the disciplinarian. You need both of them. And now when you take that guy out, it just really fucks up everything, dude. It fucks up everything. So it's a combination of everything. Like, he does play into trying to get Noahide laws, which is total fucking pussy shit. Like I love Jews. My girlfriend's Jewish. Mitzi Shore's Jewish. Jesus Jewish. Love the Jews. But the fact that they're trying to pass censorship laws when they've talked the most shit in history, dude, it's such pussy shit. Sorry, dude. Like, all the things of white guys that can't wipe their own asses in commercials. White guys are fucking idiots everywhere. Fucking Christians, Catholics are pedophiles. That narrative everywhere. That's all pushed by the media in Hollywood. And it's like, I'm not saying Catholics haven't done that shit, because there's a lot of dark. It's all about detaching you from God.
Hey, well, do you not think that there's some element, though, that when maybe if the implication
But Rob, let me ask you
that,
something.
like,
You say some pretty fucking. I love your shit. I love your comedy. I think you're fucking very brave on stage, and I love what you do. But do you think there should be protected classes?
No, absolutely not. Of course,
That's
not.
my whole thing.
Yeah, no.
I just want to burn down
completely
everything
agree.
that divides us.
Yes, and I agree. And by the way, I think that's where we are.
No, we are getting back to the 90s plus.
Yeah.
Because in the 90s, you still couldn't make fun of Jews. We should be able to make fun of everybody. No one should be above comedy or criticism. And the best way you save your culture is opening criticism to everybody. Because, again, I said this on stage the other night, but it's like after the Holocaust, obviously, and then in the 80s, society, our cultures, probably in Canada as well, they put a bubble over 4 groups: Jews, blacks, gays, and women. And when you don't allow outside criticism from to an inside group, that group becomes the most extreme version of themselves. A great example of that is prison, right? Men's prison. There's no women in the prison system to reward or punish behavior. So men become the most extreme version of themselves, which is rape and violence and all that shit, because there's no women there to counter their behavior.
So, are you suggesting co-ed prisons?
I'm not suggesting co-ed prisons.
I mean, it'd be pretty fucking hot.
They're trying to do that with trans, and everybody's getting pregnant.
So
you know what I'm
maybe
saying?
that's the solution. Maybe
Pregnant prisoners?
Maybe we all need to stop looking at this trans and prison thing as a problem and start looking at it as a solution. You are introducing a bunch of bottoms into an ecosystem that does need
Well, they're not
willing
bottoms because they're getting pregnant. So they're getting people pregnant, so they're not bottoms.
Well, when
but-
they're not the male to. I'm saying you got to get a healthy dose of male to female women in the male prison.
You're such a liberal. You took this fucking point. You looked at how you can help
know,
trans.
this
That's
is
the
what-
funniest thing.
here-
dude.
here's
I'm like,
what I
just
truly
open
am.
criticism. And you're like, well, maybe we should have more trans in prisons.
But what is, first of all, then they're in prison, so that's nice. Here's where I come in most situations. What does something improve and what does it not? That's, again, I think why I look at like perverse incentives versus conspiracy as often as I do. What are you trying to achieve? Ultimately, if there's a bunch of male rapists in a prison who are going to eventually fuck each other, and then there's a bunch of fellas who became ladies that are just looking to get plowed out, to me, that's the tag team champions of the world. You know what I mean?
But the situation is that these guys find fine print that they can get out of being a bottom and force their way into women's prisons. And then they're just the ones raping everybody.
Yes, that one is a little tougher. I was trying to have more fun
Okay.
with the wieners to the pussies
Yeah.
rather than the pussies
Yeah,
to the
it
wieners.
doesn't work that
Yeah.
You know?
Well, to be fair though, I mean, how effective are trans dicks anyways? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you don't even have to
it's
be
a
that
real-
trans. You just throw on makeup and say you're trans. And
Fair
in
enough.
California, they're like, get her out of there. She's in danger. And then she just starts plowing everybody in a female prison.
Yeah.
You're saying there's women that look like me in prison.
Yeah, dude, they
Yeah.
don't even shave their beards, dude. They just throw a wig
Well,
on. They're like, I'm a chick. And
to
they're
be
like,
fair,
yes, queen.
It is pretty hard to get a razor in prison, so you got to give them a little grace on that.
Yeah, it's really weird. But the whole point of the conversation is that, when you create protected classes, you allow them to become the most extreme version of themselves. And what political correctness is trying to tell you is that criticism is being mean, when in reality, you're doing a big favor to them by explaining to them that their behavior is out of pocket. And that's why it's gotten so crazy in so many different ways, because no one could criticize them. And for some reason, whatever Elon Musk is, and I don't think he's necessarily a good guy, I think he's a Luciferian, right? But
Which sounds bad.
well, there's degrees. There's like, the Malachian thing. I just had a guy come on and say that Moloch wasn't actually an entity. That's actually Kronos and Moloch. It's very interesting the way they play
Didn't
mind
the
games.
Avengers handle Kronos in the third one?
Yeah, but he's the bad guy. He's Saturn, black cube. But Moloch comes from Melech, which is actually king. So when you call somebody Moloch, you're actually calling him a king. It's a whole thing. Like, Hebrews are fucking great, and they're fucking funny. And, like, you'll talk to Jews about the Talmud, and they'll be like, dude, that's a joke. And you go, that's a real serious thing. But they really are funny with how they write shit. So Melech is their god, and these guys that they didn't like, they were worshiping another god. So they took this other god's and put it in Melech and called him Moloch, and they were actually talking shit to them. But it becomes a big fucking thing, right? So we're all saying you're worshiping Moloch. Moloch is actually the name for the term of child sacrifice.
Can I maybe dumb this down slightly to explain it to people?
Well, I mean,
who
how many
aren't
people
that-
listen to my podcast here? Anybody?
Well, no, I meant more for the people.
Yeah,
in
they
the
know what
camera
I'm
at home.
talking about.
No, the people
One hot
here know
chicks
what you're
here,
talking
like,
about.
What are you saying, dude?
I have a decent amount
This
of.
is not Matt Rife. Why am I here right now?
I believe I have a decent amount of listeners who maybe don't know the entire history of Moloch. So I would say the dumbed down version of that, if I was trying to explain it to them, is do you remember Virgil, Ted DiBiase's Black Manslave?
Yeah.
So Virgil was the real name of Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
So
my God.
calling him
That is
Virgil
so funny.
was to make fun of Dusty Rhodes. Then when Virgil eventually later had to go to WCW, they named him Vincent because that was their way of making fun of Vincent McMahon.
Wow, that is so dark.
His entire career has been nothing but, hey,
shit
we're going to
talking.
call you somebody so that they feel like shit about themselves.
So crazy,
But
dude.
apparently a huge hog. But
I mean, he's
anyways,
a
okay.
black guy.
Yeah. But
That's a psyop too. That all black guys have big dicks. We just see the best.
I'm gonna, you know what?
in
Of all the
porn.
things I'm gonna take away from this, I'm going to agree that one's a psyop because it feels better.
They don't all big dicks, but
I know they can't
that's got to
all
be a
have
lot
big
of pressure if you're a black guy with not a big dick, and you're like, oh no, she's gonna find out.
Yeah, it's all right. Hold on.
Well, my whole theory is like there's this psyop that women have tried because women are so conscious of their body and so sensitive and vulnerable about it that they've tried to make something for guys to feel bad about, which is like big dicks and little dicks. But the truth is like if there's big dicks, there's big pussies, and if you like a big dick, you probably got a wide set fucking snatch. You know what I'm saying? But they never talk about that because there's some chicks, and I don't even have a big dick. I have like 6 inches on its tippy toe, and now I've gotten fatter. I've lost prime real estate, dude. Half the reason I want to lose weight is to get back to fucking half an inch I lost, right? But there's some chicks I have to shoehorn that shit in. There's no way they're going to be able to handle fucking a 10-incher. But there's chicks who have very wide set vaginas who that's perfect for, but nobody ever talks about that.
And in the same way, I would say there are horny rapist men in prison, and there are little trans bottoms that want to please them. All right, hold on.
But they're not the ones leaving the prison.
I'm kidding.
There's a flaw to your joke.
Let me. There's one last thing I wanted to talk about, whatever, because I feel like it's, I think a big cultural.
You want to talk about the CAA thing, but CAA thing.
No, I don't care about the CIA. We can move off this.
But they did 100% push that.
I fully believe. But what? I guess let's handle that quickly then. What is your belief of why you think CAA's in it overall? Like, no, I understand in a specific case with Brian, but. Like, what is the? Because
listen, dude, it gets very deep. If you hear people crying about black versus white, straight versus gay, men versus women, that's all fucking dog shit, dude. You're already lost the fucking fight. It's a spiritual war. We're battling black magicians, Kabbalah sorcerers, and they want less of us. Do you know why they say they're the chosen people? It has nothing to do with Jesus. They think Jesus is burning in hell in excrement. The reason they think that they're the chosen ones is because when God created the world, he put all of his energy into the tree of life, and it was so powerful that the tree of life blew up, and all God's energy went to the universe. And they think that a lot of that energy went into them, the Jews, right? And they think, because they believe in duality, they believe in God energy and chaos energy, and they think all the chaos energy went to us. And their job is to bring order to the chaos. Is that all of our Jewish friends believe that? No. Most of them are just culturally Jews because they just, they grew up in that and they love their people. Most of them couldn't even tell you that story. They don't even know that. Do you guys know the book that tells you that? It's called the Zohar. And do you know if you become a master of the teachings of Zohar, do you know what your title is called? Baal Shem. You literally are named Baal, B-A-L, B-A-A-L, Shem. Like, it's right fucking there, dude. It's like crazy to fucking me.
That's crazy because I loved Adam Sandler and the Legends of Zohar.
It's right and I love Adam Sandler. I would never speak ill will of that guy. He's so fucking funny. But it's all right there, dude. I mean, his movie's literally about a fucking IDF soldier, a fucking Mossad soldier trying to run away from his war crimes, dude. That's literally the basis of the movie, dude.
Well, he's Hollywood's top secret conservative, right? I mean, he's like the biggest secret conservative.
I mean, but he's great. I love him, dude. It's like you don't always agree with everybody. It doesn't mean you don't have to like them or get along with them. It's just he's not the guy that is the bad. He's just playing the game, dude. But at the top, these old fucking Chabad guys are fucking shady, dude. They literally think we're cattle, dude. That's why the IDF has no problem with fucking. It's literally like when Joe Rogan goes elk hunting. That's how they literally look at it. And that's why you're never going to fix anything if you bring emotions into what you're doing. And again, my girlfriend's Jewish. She hates Israel. I mean, it's like they can't understand it because they've been so ingrained with it since they were children, dude. About the importance of that country, like they always get told everyone hates the Jews because they're successful. Like it's so hilarious to hear that shit. Like I've heard comedians say that, oh, you hate me because I'm successful. Carlos Mencia, I'm not gonna say the other one because he's a good guy now, he's learned, but like Carlos is like, oh, they just hate me because I'm successful. Like, do you know how narcissistic that has to be? Has nothing to do with you stealing fucking jokes from everybody. It's fucking crazy, dude. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Gay Poetry Night. This one we call Fister.
All right, one last thing because we should stop in like 5-ish minutes or so. So we're here.
Yeah.
I think we both agree we're kind of at a I want to say turning point because that may be
I think we're winning.
Optimistic.
I personally think we're winning. I think if they had it their way, we'd all have barcodes on our foreheads, living in 15-minute cities, living.
Do you think that COVID was good for that? Do you think that COVID was a chance for them where they walked up to that line and enough people pushed back in that moment that ultimately we actually maybe won COVID?
I think it woke everybody up to that what they're willing and
because they could never do that again. Remember when monkeypox? They tried to workshop monkeypox. Yeah, nobody went with that for a second.
I think you're great, but who knows? They'll wait, dude. This isn't about doing it right now. They'll wait for as long as it takes, and even if it's not in their lifetime, they don't give a shit. It's just tiny incremental steps. But like, do you guys just see right now that Air Canada says they're not going to fly to Guardia or something like that, or Kennedy, because of fuel prices? Dude, by the way, good chance they don't even use fuel on planes, okay? They don't even use it, dude. Great. I mean, like, dude, how would those fucking wings, which are fucking paper thin, carry all that fucking fuel? How come you wouldn't hear anything sloshing? What would happen when the fuel goes down? It's like, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But it's all about, I'm telling you, they don't want you flying. That's why you see videos of people fighting, cancellations. If they want you in a 15-minute city, why do they want you flying?
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'm curious to know what's making the airplanes plane, but is it like magnets?
What's making it fly?
Yeah.
Air. What? It's through into turbines. It's just fucking air, dude. That's all it fucking is. And the price
Send
of
me
your
a link.
oil
I don't think we have
is
time to handle
total
that right now.
bullshit. The price of your oil is a lie. The gas that they're using right now, that was like 2 years ago. They got that shit. Anytime they somebody farts in the Middle East, they got to raise the price of oil.
But isn't this, again, go back to perverse incentives, isn't just the speculative system we live in? One of my major gripes with things, and you kind of touched on it earlier, the company I always bring up in this way is General Electric. Remember when all of your appliances were GE, your stove, your microwave, your whatever? What does GE do now? They manipulate currencies. That's it. GE doesn't make anything.
You know what's super interesting is these airlines really aren't even making money off of flying anymore. They're making money off of credit cards. They're just flying banks right now, which is a way to offset the losses.
Same with Starbucks.
Yep. I mean,
Starbucks
it's just
is the third largest banking institution in America.
100%. It's a way to offset the losses from when they run this cultural Marxism shit on you.
Okay, I want to get to this quickly, and we'll get out of here. I want to give people some time to
walk around
because
they're sitting.
Exactly.
You only got 70 minutes on that butt before you start getting ants in your pants.
Yeah. All you had to do was pay us a living wage. Tell me what give me your gut instinct on that situation, and is that part of the turning point? The guy who set the Kimberly-Clark factory on fire. You've not seen this video?
Oh yeah.
So to me, forget Luigi Mangione. I will say, by the way, the thing on that point earlier, I'll put a bow on, is the problem with killing a CEO is, and what I would change about America is that the CEO is actually not acting in an interest of his own. A CEO has a fiduciary responsibility in America to provide the highest earnings for their stockholders they possibly can. So anyone you put in a position of CEO literally has to fuck people or they go to jail. This is why I don't think that companies should even be allowed to go public. I think that all companies should be private.
I would agree with you. I mean, it's no longer about the business of selling to customers. It's about stockholders. And when you do that, then capitalism dies. Because your incentive in capitalism is to please your customers so you get more customers. And that is now gone. Now you're just only pleasing stockholders. It's kind of like what happened to Hollywood, right? Writers stopped writing for the audience. They started writing for the suits. And the suits wanted super woke shit. And now what you're seeing in Hollywood is an understanding from the fucking executive class that the consumers no longer want woke. But the problem is they've cultivated 20 years of woke rot in the middle of the whole production. So now they have to implode it. So what you're watching right now is an implosion of the old system of Hollywood, because if they just fired everybody, they get sued to the dark fucking realms, dude.
Truly, after Top Gun 2 came out, there should have been a ceremony where Tom Cruise got everybody together. They had like the Chinese theater or whatever, someplace nice, and he should have thanked everybody after Top Gun 2 came out, and he should have lifted a little switch, and he should have said, "We've done everything we can here in Hollywood," and he should have pressed a red button and nuked the city and just ended Hollywood. Because Top Gun 2 is the end.
I just sold a movie, and it's getting made in like June or July, and it's so outside of Hollywood. It's so crazy. My whole career has come from leaving Hollywood. When I leave in Hollywood, I'm treated like a pariah. Outside of Hollywood, I'm treated with a lot of love and respect.
Not the Britney Spears music video, you're not.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But again, dude, it's like the whole thing, like you can't have entertainment for the masses when everybody in the system that's making it is coming from rich kids from San Francisco, LA, and New York, and they're the ones pitching to each other. You can't have that. You can't, they got rid of the old guard. They no longer use any of these old showrunners. It's all 20 and 30-year-olds who come from campuses, and they've all bringing this woke bullshit. And they just don't care about business. They only care about pleasing the suits, because again, that pleases BlackRock. They don't give a fuck about the loss of money. I know you think that's crazy. Hollywood for the longest time did not care about losing money.
Well, look at Netflix. Netflix operates at a massive loss every year, and
because it all gets bailed out by fucking Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
and fed funny money. But the problem isn't now the money loss. The problem is that they can no longer propagandize you because you're not watching their products. So now they have to play a game where they bring you in. Look at like. You know, and I'm happy Kill Tony's on. I'm happy Tim Dillon's on Netflix because I love those
Do you
guys.
think this is why they gave us Gillis? They gave us Gillis back for
it's
this?
all about, hey, look, we're doing stuff you,
can
like.
say retard
Bring it
again.
back.
Retard's back.
Listen, you should say retard. You should be able to say every word you fucking want in a context. And it shouldn't even be context. It should be, you should be able to fucking say it. It's just the problem is that there's so much fine print to our cultural rules that you really can't even take them serious. And it's really just about making white progressive women comfortable and not have to fucking think. But those days are fucking done, dude. People want to hear the real shit. And you're never going to have a revolution while you have fat fucking homeless people with iPhones. It's just never going to, we're too fucking comfortable. And I'm not saying wreck it. I'm just saying you're not going to have change until people get really unfucking comfortable. And it happens every fucking time. They've broken it down, like the four turnings or some shit like that. Plato or Socrates broke it down. It starts with honesty, then it's integrity, and then integrity doesn't matter because it's just access, and then the elites take over everything, and it's just this cycle. It happens and we're now in this cycle where the elites are controlling everything, and people are gonna get fucking tired of it, and it's just gonna come, and it's gonna get bumpy, and it's gonna get fucking rough, and you're gonna have to question whether you want to sacrifice everything you have.
So let me
for
ask
future.
you, is the moment, in my opinion, is all you had to do is pay us a living wage, our let them eat cake moment.
Yes.
That, because to me, like when we talk about, and we don't have to get into the
That's why the
idea of-
UFC's struggling. Because we're a nation. I know I'm in Canada, I'm in the United States, but we're nations of workers. And when we see that the worker isn't getting paid what he should be getting paid, and the brass is making all the money, that's why nobody wants to watch UFC. They can say they don't have any stars, but everyone's going, you're fucking these fighters.
Yeah.
And psychologically, people don't want to watch that. We are a nation of workers. We want to work hard, get paid a living wage, be able to take care of our family, support our kids, leave us something. And that's not happening with these fighters. And that's why nobody wants to watch UFC anymore, because they're nickeling and diming these guys.
I would love to just watch a flyweight in the middle of the ring just go, you should have paid me a living wage, and just light the whole place on fire.
I mean, dude, it's, Netflix now. If you look at kind of the pay has gone up silently, but until these guys start making them, they should be making half of everything. That's how every other league is. The fucking athletes make half, and the after fucking expenses, and then the owners make the other half, which is a crazy thing, but it takes a lot to run a fucking team and all that shit.
Does.
But they should get paid. People are tired. If it's like with these fucking HB1 visa people, it's like they're just bringing in. We're capable of doing all the jobs. They just don't want to pay us when Americans and Canadians want to get paid to have to be able to take care of their kids and all that shit. So they bring in these other people, and I don't hate them. They work for fucking half, and then they just all clump up together because that's the only way they can survive. So you get this little India, you get this little fucking Mexico, because they have to live together to be able to support themselves. And that's not capitalism, dude.
Well, I tell you, I think the Civil War is going to start on this street, on Queen Street in particular, and it's going to be between Indian Uber Eats drivers and the homeless. Those two are going to face each other in the most epic battle you have ever seen. There's no way we can continue to have this many Indians on motorized bicycles and this many fentanyl-leaning homeless people in the same space without this eventually being a massive problem.
One of my favorite things is when I tour, is when people come to me and say, I listened to your show and I changed my life. I now have my own business. I'm running my own business. That's the key, dude. I think it's going to go back to independent contractor. If you want to have a living, you want to make money and take care of your family, you got to build your own business and you got to make money that way. The days of being in a corporation. And the problem is so many people are too afraid to take that chance.
What not strikes? We got to stop in a second. But when I look at
gotta
something,
stop.
well, when I look at something like the Kimberly Clark situation,
Caitlin Clark.
also by the way, WNBA, pay them what they're worth. But I like
welfare for fucking tall lesbians.
who needs it more? But you know what? Fuck it. I think we're all right. Let's cut.
I think
bait.
we
This
did
is
it.
getting way
you
too
guys
close
gotta
to
get
showtime.
up and walk around.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
it's getting
sitting
way
here
too
for
close
a
to
whole
showtime.
show,
Yeah.
you're gonna have ants in your pants. So walk around. I know it's raining, but go check out the fucking demon room.
Yeah,
see
yeah,
what's
yeah.
in there.
Grab a drink. We'll say
Maybe
hi.
try to bring in a fucking entity to the show.
We had a lady come. Our seance lady came and like put things in the room to protect us from whatever.
Dark arts, dude.
Yeah. So,
Letting
all right,
in the demons.
ladies and gentlemen, Sam Tripoli. Thank you very much for your
guys.
time. We'll see you
Go
guys in a
walk
little
around.
bit.
Sorry, I was late.